Welcome to Get Justice with Scott Elliott Smith and Michael Morris. Today, Michael has proposed we talk about something that's near and dear to him, that is motorcycle collisions.
Mainly just because I wear the t-shirts all the time, but yes, I've got a question for you, and I started to ask you off there, and I want to know, motorcycle accident or motorcycle collision?
Accident connotes that it was nobody's fault. 99.9% of collisions on the roadway, Michael, have an at-fault component. Only if there's an act of God, and even then, if you're out in the weather when you shouldn't have been, it could be your fault. So, collisions are really what happens between two vehicles when they hit each other at any substantial speed. It's a collision. You have to ask anybody who's ever been in a collision to know it is not an accident.
Well, I was looking up these statistics because we had talked on the phone, I think it was Monday, and I was kind of shocked to see the numbers of these motorcycle collisions and how they keep rising every year. So, for instance, there are 30 times more deaths from riders than there are in vehicles. I mean, that's a national highway study. So as I started going through it, I thought, I don't hear a lot of cases about it. You know, and I'm sure that you've had plenty of experience with that.
I have. We represent and have represented many motorcycle riders who are involved in collisions. You know, the statistic you just read, Michael, is explainable. More people are buying motorcycles. Motorcycles are cheaper. People don't have as much money. Instead of maybe owning a car, driving a car, they own a motorcycle.
Isn't insurance also cheaper because...
Well, we're going to talk about insurance, but just for purposes
we normally do talk about insurance.
Well, we're going to talk about insurance. We always have to talk about insurance if you're operating a motor vehicle. Motorcycles are fun. They're great. This time of the year in Ohio, people are out every day. They enjoy the freedom. They enjoy the exhilaration of riding a motorcycle, and that's great. But there's some major pitfalls.
So what has your experience been? Because again, you've got over 34 years of experience. I mean, as you've seen this motorcycle population kind of explode, I know you get truck cases, car cases, motorcycle cases, but in the case of the motorcycle case, I would think there would be more death involved.
Well, let's look at this from a common sense approach. What's a motorcycle? Well, it's a convertible with two wheels. You've got no protection other than a helmet, and that offers you minimal protection at 60 miles an hour on the highway if you're hit or someone pulls out in front of you. So you are open to more and severe type of injuries or death, more than you are in a car because you've wrapped around a bunch of steel. That's why you have to be really, really careful about what it is you do if you decide you're going to ride a motorcycle. For instance, number one, if you can afford a motorcycle, you should be able to afford the insurance that goes with it, because motorcycles are hard to see. And if I owned a motorcycle, and I don't, I would have lights everywhere on that thing because people don't see you. And I'm not talking about people that are evil. I'm talking about people that actually don't see, because motorcycles are hard to see. So, with that in mind, your chances of having a collision on a motorcycle increase than they do on a car. And if that's the case, you have to be protected.
Well, you have to protect yourself from other people more so than you do in a car. I mean, basically.
Absolutely.
Because visibility is one thing, but I had asked the question why motorcycles were so loud. And the answer I got was so people could hear you coming and going. But I don't hear that with every bike that I see, and I do see a lot of overturned bikes on the freeway where people are, you're changing lanes and someone doesn't see it, and when they're riding in packs it's easier to see, but one motorcycle changing multiple lanes, everyone has to be aware of that.
Well, they do, and you'll see on the back of a lot of cars share the road. They're usually talking about bicyclists, but it applies to motorcycles just as much. Drivers of motor vehicles need to be on the lookout and watch carefully and pay attention. In this year and age of distracted driving, it's worse and worse and worse. So people on motorcycles, if they're collided with someone who's not paying attention, is going to suffer a bad injury and maybe death.
What's the typical case that you see? I mean, are there more family members that come to see you, or is it actually someone that was involved in the collision themselves has made it in? I'm thinking the worst way. I'm thinking that that person on a bike is in such in harm's way in such a large amount that he may be dealing with the next of kin on that. I mean, maybe you're dealing with both.
No, that's true. That's absolutely true. Michael, motorcycle collisions are unfortunately just part of the traffic pattern that happens in any area, whether rural or the urban area. Most of the time you read in the newspaper somebody lost control of the motorcycle. People think of people who ride motorcycles sometimes as not being very responsible. Young kids want to drive fast, and there are those out there that do that, and they do cause their own collisions, and they do cause their own injury and death. However, the responsible motorcycle riders pay attention, and they anticipate that someone's going to pull out in front of them as best they can. Now, they don't always predict it, and they don't always prevent it. But if they do, chances are they're going to see me, or I'm going to see them in the hospital. Or they're not going to make it, and their family members are going to come and see me, and that's a wrongful death case, because the person who caused the collision is then charged with all the damages that flow from someone's death. So I sometimes see the rider, sometimes see the rider in the hospital, sometimes I see the family members.
Well, out of the statistics that we have, 2/3 of people that are on a bike, it's a fatality. So these are national highway statistics.
Well,
so,
it's easy to see why.
Oh, it totally makes sense. I'm just saying, in your case, it's got to be so hard to, we always talk about you have to, save the evidence and recreate the crime scene. The unfortunate part is the person that's actually involved in this, that you're taking up their end of the case, 2/3 of the time they're not there.
Right.
So, as far as when it comes to insurance, how does that enter the picture for somebody that has insurance on a bike and they've passed away?
Well, let's back up from the beginning. If you anticipate you want to own a motorcycle, or you own a motorcycle now, this is very important for you to understand. Number one, make sure you have enough insurance. Now let's talk about what insurance really is. To me, Michael, you've heard me say it many times, it's a necessary evil. Insurance, to me, is a necessary evil. It is so ingrained in our system that everybody has it, and the law in some instances requires us to have it. In some instances, it's a good idea. But in the whole scheme of things, insurance is like a casino. They never lose. They may pay out once in a while, but at the end of the day, they make a profit. Now, that being said, I also implore anybody who wants to have a motorcycle as something they're going to ride, or they have one now, make sure you have the correct insurance and the correct amount of insurance.
Can I stop you there?
Sure.
Because when you say, I know you're a very detailed person, but when you say the correct insurance and the correct amount, I think when the majority of people look and they say, all the marketing materials, we insure your boat, your car, all that doesn't mean how much. Right, so the other person on the end of that phone, or if you can buy it on the internet, this to me would be the worst part. If I'm not educated and I go, oh, it's only $129 a month, and I can insure my bike for another $129. When you say correct, what do you mean?
All insurance is not created equal. Every company has their own little nuances on what they're going to offer for you as a motorcycle owner. For instance, you come in and you think, I'm going to go strictly on price. I'm looking for the cheapest motorcycle insurance I can get. I'm going to get what's called liability. So if in fact I'm at fault, my insurance company will pay out to the person who I caused the collision with and their damages. Liability is merely one component. Now, if you're on a motorcycle, you can be involved in a collision just as easily as you are in a car. And if you're going to cause a collision, although no one intentionally does so, you better have enough coverage to protect your own personal assets, whether you got a home, whether you have a boat, whether you have a retirement account. Because if you hurt somebody badly, they can come after you for your insurance. And if you have a little amount, a minimal amount, a state minimum amount, they're going to take that and then they're going to come after your own personal assets. So you've got to gauge your insurance limits with what you own and what's at risk. Do you have kids? Do you have a wife? Do you have a husband? These are dependents that count on you. And if you're involved in a collision, you're not there to be counted on anymore. Right. So The correct insurance to get has to be insurance that includes liability coverage, which we just talked about, and collision coverage, and comprehensive. Let's talk about comprehensive just for a minute. Comprehensive includes theft. Motorcycles don't weigh that much compared to cars, and 2 or 3 strong guys can pick up your motorcycle and take it away, and it's stolen and it's gone. And they file down the title numbers and registration numbers, and now your motorcycle's gone. So you want to have comprehensive because motorcycles are easier to steal. And if you have your helmet there, or you got any other personal effects, that covers that too. The most important of all insurance to have on a car or a motorcycle is uninsurance and underinsurance.
I've heard you mention this. Go on.
Yes, well, you've heard me say it more than once because people don't know. And insurance companies don't educate you. They don't want to sell you something that decreases their profits. They're in a business.
Or increases their payout. That's the way we can look at it.
They don't want to pay it out.
Their profit.
And yes, exactly. They both affect each other. So what you need is uninsurance and underinsurance. They go together. What is that? Well, uninsurance is you're driving your motorcycle down the road on a beautiful sunny day like today, and the next thing you have is someone immediately pulls out in front of you from a stop sign. You cannot stop in time. You lay it down. You hit their car. It turns out you're badly hurt. You've got a head injury, you've got broken bones, you need surgery, your medical bills are through the roof. And you find out the person who caused the collision has state minimum limits of $25,000.
Which is all that's required by the state.
That's
right?
all that's required. So you've got to protect yourself from those people who have bought insurance on the cheap. Because what happens is if all you get is $25,000, you may not be able to work again. You may become just another person who lives off the government aid. Where before you were a very productive individual, had a car, had a home, had a family, and had a job. It all can go away in the snap of the finger, Michael. So, even though you don't want to be involved in a collision, make sure you're covered. So, uninsurance, that's if someone hits you and they don't have any insurance, and underinsurance is if they don't have enough. If you're involved in a motorcycle car collision, $25,000 is not going to be enough. I will guarantee you it won't be enough. There's too much that goes wrong in those type of collisions.
But you've seen that. I mean, you're not just saying this based on something you Googled. You've seen this in court. You've seen families have to deal with this because they didn't have underinsurance.
I see it more than you even want to know. That goes with car insurance. It goes with motorcycle insurance. Don't scrimp on your insurance coverage on your car or on your motorcycle. Always, always, always get uninsurance and underinsurance at least equal to your liability coverage. Should be at a minimum on a car $100,000. It's not that much. $100,000 sounds like a lot of coverage. It's not that much, and it won't cost you as much. But make sure you get uninsurance and underinsurance of that same amount.
I had never heard of underinsurance until, I've told this story before, the first time we met, and for 10 minutes you told me why I needed it, and I thought you were an insurance broker. I'm like, why is this so important? I get it now. As we've been doing the show for so long, it does make total sense, but I had to ask for it. I had to call my agent to ask if I had it, and then to get a quote for it. And it really was inexpensive to add it, but that's, again, why we have this show, so we can say this over and over, because it seems to be, out of the 4 different pieces that you mentioned for insurance for just a bike, for example, underinsurance would be the most important thing to have.
Absolutely, Michael. I can't preach that enough on your car or on your motorcycle. Get that, because that at least protects you financially to some degree if you're in a bad collision. I mean, I've seen it more often than I ever want to imagine, Michael. People come in, someone has caused a collision, they're in bad shape. The person who caused the collision has minimal insurance, and the person who has the motorcycle or the car has minimal insurance. It ruins their life. I mean, it ruins their life. It changes like that. And everybody thinks, well, motorcycle, that's fun, it's cheap, I'll get cheap insurance. Absolutely wrong thing to do. You have a motorcycle, you get more expensive insurance than you do on your car because of the things we just talked about. If you're involved in a collision, chances are you're going to get hurt or you're going to be killed, and your family needs compensation for the losses that were caused.
I know you're not an insurance agent, but I was thinking there's got to be a way. You know how they bundle those policies. I would think if you're calling about underinsurance on your vehicle, if you also have a bike or a boat or whatever it is, it should be easy to wrap them all together.
Well, that's a different story, but let me just finish on this motorcycle insurance. No, it's fine. A lot of people do like to shop online where they give you a limited package of what you can get, and if you don't know what it is that you need, you're going to take the cheapest in a lot of cases. That's the wrong way to go. It's the worst way to go, and I'm imploring you to shop it. Be educated. If you're listening to this show right now and you've got a motorcycle, call your agent as soon as possible and say, I want uninsurance and underinsurance coverage at least $100,000, and then have them quote it for you. It should be something. If you can afford a motorcycle, you should be able to afford good insurance. It's for your own good. It's for your family's own good.
I like that you ramped up. We have to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to keep talking about motorcycle collisions here on Get Justice with Scott Elliott Smith. Is there a specific place you want to go? Or you just want to
No, we can go into the umbrella. That's where you're headed, which is fine.
Yeah.
And you know, I preach insurance so much that sooner or later people are going to hear it and start doing it.
Well, that's cute.
Umbrella's cheaper. I mean, do you have umbrella now?
Yeah, because of you.
Yeah, but I mean, wasn't that expensive?
No, but when I asked, they said, well, can we call you back and get you? And I thought, why can't you just tell me now? They had to like run numbers. I went, it can't be that hard. It was like another, whatever, $20-some a month or something. All right, so we'll go on umbrella. Can you do me a favor? Can you kick off when you come back and mention, liability, underinsurance? Just hit those four again, what we talked about, so that I can go into umbrella.
Okay.
You got about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Welcome back to Get Justice with Scott Elliott Smith and Michael Morris. Michael, to summarize where we left off, if you're going to own a motorcycle or you do own one, make sure you've got the insurance that's correct. Number one, you need liability coverage in case you cause a collision. You don't want your personal assets exposed. Number two, you want comprehensive coverage in case your motorcycle's stolen, vandalized, any accessories. But most importantly is uninsurance and underinsurance. You need that because if someone else caused the collision, they don't have enough insurance or they have none, you're left with the only coverage that you have, maybe for the death or a bad injury. So that's called uninsurance and underinsurance.
Can I bring up our favorite topic that we always threaten?
Oh, this is a topic that's one of my favorites.
Yes, umbrella insurance.
Yeah, well, what is that, Michael?
Listen, I'm not the expert on it. I just know that we keep talking that we're going to do an entire show on it. I would like the expert to tell people what umbrella insurance is and what it covers.
Well, umbrella insurance is a little known insurance product that insurance companies have, most have. Any reputable and full coverage insurance company has this as a product, and they call everything a product.
It's all called a product.
Yeah, they're all products.
Let me reach over. You know who? There's one that actually has an ad where they're reaching for the product, but the product is always the label of the insurance company.
Yeah.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Umbrella insurance is exactly what it sounds like it is. An umbrella opens up and it covers you. It covers all of you. Well, an umbrella insurance policy covers everything that you own if you qualify. In other words, if you've got cars and a home, you can get umbrella insurance. You can't get an umbrella if you just have cars. And what you don't ever hear from insurance agents, and you never see a commercial on TV about it, is, hey, come to us for umbrella insurance. Well, why don't they? Let me see why that is. But first of all, we have to know what it is. So what it is, you have insurance on your car. I got insurance on my house. Why do I need umbrella insurance? Well, umbrella insurance covers both. And it's more than what you've got on your car, your motorcycle, or your home. For instance, example, you've got a car. You got $250,000 in liability insurance and $250,000 in uninsurance and underinsurance. That's great. It's good coverage, depending on how much you own, what your personal assets are. You also have a home. You got homeowners insurance. You say to me, Michael, why would I need umbrella coverage? Well, let's think about what it does. Let's assume that's all you got is $250,000, even though that's a lot of money. How about asking your agent for umbrella coverage that gives you the same coverage on your motorcycle and car and your home for $1 million? So if you're ever involved in a bad collision, you have not only your car insurance or your motorcycle insurance, but you have your umbrella insurance, which is excess, what gives you more coverage. The reason you don't hear about it, Michael, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, is that umbrella insurance is not as expensive as it sounds. I say $1 million in coverage, $5 million in coverage. Everybody's going, I can't afford that. Go price it out. For $1 million in coverage, if you own a home, motorcycle, and a car, it's going to be very, very little compared to what you get in return.
But isn't that why they put these bundle packages? Because when you look at a bundle package, I'm just talking about what you see on TV and here on the radio. They are, you can put all three of these on one policy, but they're all different rates versus umbrella is covering.
Well, umbrella covers everything that you've already got insurance on, but to a higher limit for a cheaper amount. That's why I don't think they sell it. They don't advertise it because it's such a good product for the consumer.
And, well, they're taking more risk, right? So I've got more pieces under that. It's cheaper to buy. Yes, I'm getting that additional money every month or every quarter when you pay it, but the payoff is so much bigger.
Yeah, the payoff's much bigger. And as a consumer, as an insured, you are more protected. People don't know about umbrella. You've got to be educated about it. You can't just take an agent's word for it. You can't go online and just get the cheapest. You've got to know what it is you're looking for. It's really not that difficult. Just from listening to us, Michael, and I know you from listening to me, you turned around and got the umbrella insurance. So you got coverage on your car, you got coverage on your home, and now you got an umbrella that triples the coverage just in case someone else caused a collision and you're injured. Or your daughter is fatherless.
Well, the other thing is if you're at fault. I mean, it protects you that way, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have to have it both ways. You have to protect yourself in case someone causes a collision for you or you've done it to somebody else.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to protect yourself in more than one way. Protect yourself from maybe you make a mistake and you don't want everybody to take your house. Maybe you don't want them to take your retirement accounts. You don't want to do that. But the one I always harp on is the uninsurance, underinsurance. You can control that. You can't control people causing a collision that might maim you.
It is true. You do harp on that even when the mics aren't on.
Yeah,
it's very important. I know, but that's why I like to bring it up because I know, first of all, I know it's a hot button issue for you, but also when I've asked other people, and I've seen you ask other people, and they look at you blankly like, I don't know what that means. It's amazing how one product, let's call it, seems to be hidden away when it has the most benefit for you as the consumer.
You know, Michael, I care about the people I represent. I mean, I don't ever remember not having a good, solid, lasting relationship with people that we represent and their families. We try to guide them through everything. I mean, we have to deal with the legal, we have to deal with the medical, we have to deal with the sciences, the engineering, the action reconstruction. And we got to deal with their psyche. We got to deal with their psychology. We have to deal with people that are grieving. They can't make really good, sound decisions for a limited period of time. They have to have someone they can lean on, and that's what I'm here for. It's my passion. It's always been. I care for people. I don't care for big business. I don't care for big insurance companies. They don't care about you. They care about their profits. What I care about is the people who don't have anybody to look out for them. No one's going to stand up for them. Insurance companies and big business, they're bullies. You get into courts and you get certain judges and General Assembly legislators who are bullies. They don't care about the consumer.
They care about that vote. They don't care about the consumer.
They care about that vote. But the General Assembly who are making the laws, they're in that position to protect their constituents, the consumers. And I don't think they do a good job. Not in Ohio, they don't. Not in car insurance. Not in motorcycle insurance. They don't do a good job. All the laws that have been passed in the last 20 years have been pro-business laws, pro-insurance. In other words, there are less loopholes. That the insurance policies you get, no one ever reads them. You've got a big, thick stack of papers. It's an insurance policy. All you think it does is cover me. Well, the first couple pages says, we cover you. And the last 50 pages say, here's all the reasons and all the times and all the conditions where we don't cover you. Well, they get away with it. So you need someone like me.
I was going to say, I've looked at some of those things and immediately set them down. I thought, I'll just have somebody else read this for me that understands this jargon. With the last couple of minutes we have, can you one more time just break down liability, not in full, just what you need? We know we covered umbrella.
Yeah, this topic today has been about motorcycle insurance, and the biggest lesson I can give to anybody is to protect yourself, whether it's with a helmet, whether it's with driving within the speed limit, staying out of congested areas as best you can, and get insurance to cover you. Get the insurance for liability.
That's the most important thing of all.
Be
Be safe, but also have the insurance.
It's something you can control. You can't control someone pulling out from a stop sign. You can control the insurance you have on your motorcycle.
And get umbrella.
And get umbrella if you've got a car and a house. It's not that expensive, and you get more coverage, more bang for your buck. You want that.
I promise. One day we will do a full show on umbrella. Just keep listening, I promise. Scott, thanks for today.
Michael, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Rock and roll.
Can you get on that thing about the judge death?
Oh, I didn't rail on judges' days.
This week especially.
Oh, judges. I never know the judges, that come up for election, the